Matt Rhule could be dedicating this offseason to addressing several pressing priorities aimed at elevating the Nebraska football program, strengthening the offensive line, refining recruiting strategies, bolstering roster depth in key positions, and positioning the team for genuine competition within the Big Ten. Instead, his persistent mismanagement of the Raiola situation has generated an unnecessary and significant distraction. Rhule is now compelled to field repeated inquiries regarding his failure to retain the program's most promising quarterback in recent memory, while simultaneously managing the repercussions of decisions that have eroded team stability. This predicament was entirely avoidable. Nebraska had the quarterback position secured with Raiola, a highly capable and developing talent who ranked as the #1 quarterback prospect in his recruiting class and was frequently regarded as the top overall recruit. Rhule could have maintained focus on other aspects of team building, knowing the most critical role was already filled. However, his stubborn approach and suboptimal choices have necessitated a frantic search for a replacement, one who is likely to fall short of Raiola's statistical output, passing precision, and leadership qualities. This diversion not only consumes valuable time and resources, but also perpetuates a cycle of instability, undermining efforts to foster long-term progress. The squandered foundation, a lockdown QB position, turned into a total mess. Nebraska had the quarterback position effectively secured and stabilized with Raiola, offering the potential for 4 solid years of consistent performance. In the current nil landscape, elite quarterbacks have incentives to remain in college longer, balancing financial opportunities with skill development, rather than hastening to the NFL where pathways are constrained by intense competition, injury risks, and external factors such as agents and contractual politics. Raiola embodied this potential, an enthusiastic learner of the game, eager to absorb knowledge, and a natural leader who assumed the role of team spokesperson, engaging positively with fans and embodying the program's public face. Rhule's primary responsibilities were straightforward: provide appropriate support systems, including nil resources, ensure adequate protection, and allow Raiola the autonomy to execute plays effectively. As a pro-style drop-back passer, Raiola thrived when scanning the field, delivering short to deep accurate passes as needed, and selecting the optimal throw based on defensive reads. Capitalizing on his success could have established a robust foundation, drawing additional high-caliber recruits who recognized Nebraska's capacity to nurture 5-star talents. Regrettably, Rhule's inflexibility and flawed decision-making transformed this invaluable opportunity into a comprehensive failure, forfeiting the prospect of a championship-caliber trajectory in years 3 or 4 and compelling a full reset at the positio. N. Delusional coaching and refusal to adapt to Raiola's skill set. Matt Rhule, Marcus Satterfield, and Dana Halverson operated under a misguided belief in their own expertise, presuming their preconceived schemes and game plans represented unparalleled strategic brilliance. Rather than constructing an offense tailored to Raiola's strengths, they attempted to mold him into their vision, a hybrid system blending pro-style elements with their rigid ideas, without sufficient adaptation. Raiola, as a pro-style drop-back passer, excelled in surveying the field, executing varied and accurate passes when appropriate, and selecting the optimal throw based on defensive reads. The coaching trio's refusal to prioritize his capabilities, opting instead to impose their concepts, led to persistent inefficiencies, plays that developed too slowly and game plans that disregarded the offensive line's limitations in pass protection. This approach was compounded by their pompous and self-righteous demeanors, a reliance on superficial coach speak and buzzwords devoid of substance, and an unyielding stubbornness that resisted necessary adjustments. Rhule's micromanaging tendencies and emphasis on misaligned priorities further exacerbated the issues, creating an environment where effective preparation and execution were consistently undermined. Personal issues and dysfunction among the coaches. The dysfunction was exacerbated by reported personal challenges among the coaches, particularly concerning alcohol use. Rhule's early days in Nebraska were marked by questionable choices, such as touring small-town bars to connect with locals, with persistent rumors suggesting ongoing overuse that may impact his coaching effectiveness, though not as publicly evident as with others. Satterfield, known for a hostile and rude personality, exhibited public intoxication in Lincoln prior to his demotion, with accounts of slurred speech and apparent work impairment. His track record includes hindering quarterback development, as seen with Spencer Rattler and Raiola's freshman year struggles. Holgorsen brought a history of public incidents, including casino ejections and legal run-ins related to intoxication, reflecting a roller coaster career where personal matters intersected with professional duties. Satterfield, a smug individual with an off-putting demeanor, should have been replaced immediately. Holgorsen provided marginal gains, but failed to adapt schemes to Raiola's pro-style needs or the line's weaknesses. These issues contributed to a toxic staff dynamic, detracting from Raiola's potential and prioritizing individual egos over team success. Protection failures and the offensive line letdown. The offensive line and Donovan Raiola represented a complete failure in protecting Dylan Raiola. At the Division I level, these players, experienced and compensated, should possess the fundamentals to block effectively, yet they permitted relentless pressure. 54 sacks over 2 years, including 30 in 2025 in Raiola, enduring 27 in his 9 games. This culminated in a brutal sack against USC that resulted in a broken fibula, prematurely ending his season. Donovan, retained in part to facilitate the family commitment, did not instill consistent coaching or performance, leading to his eventual dismissal. That move triggered the complete unraveling of family ties, including younger brother Dayton's decommitment. The line's inability to execute basic duties, combined with schemes that did not mitigate their shortcomings, exposed Raiola unnecessarily. Pressure from both coaching expectations and on-field demands may have contributed, but ultimately, the group failed to protect their quarterback, compounding the programs. Broader issues. Broader leadership failure and administrative rot. This quarterback debacle is emblematic of deeper systemic issues within Nebraska's leadership structure, extending from the university president and chancellor to the athletic director and head coach. The administration operates with a combination of cluelessness and corruption, often prioritizing ulterior motives, backdoor arrangements, corporate alliances, and hidden agendas over genuine success or student-athlete welfare. They deliver rehearsed talking points and buzzwords without substantive action, fostering a culture where competence is secondary to self-serving interests. This dysfunction permeates the athletic department and the university as a whole, influencing future leaders with models of ineptitude, poor decision-making, and outright attacks on progress. The Raiola situation serves as a microcosm. Opportunities wasted through self-interested choices and lack of adaptability, mirroring how broader institutional goals are undermined. The current state of the program, starting over with worse options and lost cohesio. Nebraska is now starting over at quarterback and effectively the entire team from a far worse position than before. The current quarterback room is inadequate and unlikely to deliver championship-caliber play. Players like TJ Lateef, a freshman dual threat who showed promise in relief, may step up, but backups such as William Davila and walk-ons provide limited depth. The program isn't going to attract or land a better passer or leader than Raiola. Team cohesion is shattered. Players had grown comfortable relying on Raiola as their quarterback, offering stability and direction, but now face an unknown future. The team makeup will shift with transfers in and out, raising questions about personnel, performance, and overall direction. This creates a headache that didn't need to happen, as Rhule could have focused on other things if he had just taken care of his Corturba. CK. Recruiting collapse and the spring game debacle. Recruiting has collapsed under this regime, with a recent cycle featuring 14 Division I talents from Nebraska high schools yielding only one commit to the Huskers. Top in-state players aren't even considering Nebraska, seeing the dysfunction and poor direction. The spring game replacement with the skills competition, Husker Days, was an embarrassing disaster with low attendance, 5 to 10,000, and players failing haphazard events like roping, wing eating, and tractor pulls. Many call it the day Nebraska football died, symbolizing the erosion of traditions and hard-nosed identity. Broader analogy to university and state leadership. This quarterback mess is an analogy for the entire leadership structure at the University of Nebraska and, by extension, the state. The administration, from president to chancellor, athletic director to coaches, operates with cluelessness, corruption, and ulterior motives, focusing on backdoor deals and alternative agendas rather than success. They regurgitate talking points without action, creating a culture of incompetence that influences future leaders. The Raiola situation, squandering a top talent, mirrors how opportunities are wasted through self-serving decisions, ineptitude, and stupidity. It's not just football. It's indicative of the university's direction and Nebraska's broader leadership scope. Conclusion. What should have happened and what needs to happen. Going forward, when Nebraska received the unexpected gift of Dylan Raiola, a five-star quarterback ranked as the #1 prospect in his class and frequently the top overall recruit in the nation, the program should have immediately recognized the magnitude of this opportunity. Rhule should have acted decisively by firing Marcus Satterfield and hiring a top-tier offensive coordinator and quarterback coach specifically suited to Raiola's pro-style skill set. The focus should have shifted to formulating an offense built entirely around Raiola's strengths, with a clear 4-year plan to develop a championship-contending team by years 3 and 4. This strategy would have involved attracting additional top talent, ensuring their proper development, and creating a culture of support and success. Raiola's presence could have served as a magnet for elite recruits, demonstrating that Nebraska was capable of nurturing and showcasing premier players. Instead, Rhule made a series of poor decisions at critical moments, retaining inadequate staff, forcing mismatched schemes, and failing to provide adequate protection, compounding his reliance on meaningless coach speak and buzzwords that masked incompetence and lack of adaptability. These choices squandered a rare chance to build lasting momentum. The Raiola debacle is not an isolated incident, but a symptom of broader systemic failures within the football program, athletic department, and university leadership. From the president and chancellor to the athletic director and head coach, the administration operates with a combination of cluelessness and corruption, often prioritizing ulterior motives, backdoor arrangements, corporate alliances, and hidden agendas over genuine success or student-athlete welfare. They deliver rehearsed talking points and buzzwords without substantive action, while pursuing alternative priorities behind the scenes. This dysfunction creates a culture where competence is secondary to self-interest, with leaders enriching themselves and their networks, evidenced by substantial salaries and contract extensions, while the program deteriorates. The financial resources available to Nebraska could support a winning culture, but they are misallocated amid these competing interests. Going forward, this situation demands recognition as a comprehensive indictment of the entire system. Drastic changes are essential. A wholesale turnover, firing leaders from the president down to the head coach and athletic department staff to start fresh and rebuild with accountability and competence. Without such measures, the program and institution will remain mired in mediocrity, wasting opportunities while rewarding failure. The Raiola era could have marked a turning point towards sustained excellence. Its collapse underscores the urgent need for systemic reform to restore credibility and pursuit of true progress.